The first thing that the college teaches you in the way of composing and composition practice, whether they know it or not, is the experience. They want you to have an experience. People might say, well, isn't that the point of art? Isn't that the point of art, to have a kind of experience? It's not the experience as you would get reading a good book or watching a good film or seeing a very good play. No, I'm talking about a kind of experience that is moment to moment. So inside a musical structure, even if there may not be a musical structure, but let's just say there is, inside the musical structure, the moment is what's important. The second moment after that is what's important, and it's equal in importance. There's no more important moment. Every single moment is equal in significance and importance. And so you're going to hear a gesture, you're going to hear a musical gesture, you're going to see a kind of interesting technique on the instrument. You're going to hear a kind of soundscape, and it's just a little bit of a kaleidoscope, albeit might not have any structure. But you're going to get just little pockets of moments that in their own, each an individualistic way, are important and equal. Now that might seem abstract, but this is not a composition practice where you have an overarching melody with some memorable harmony, with some memorable low end, with some memorable rhythm that you can say, oh, we're going to go back to this section here where it goes gat 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 da. Like there's something memorable about that rhythm. Like, oh yeah, I'll play it, I'll do it again. And then we'll start with the melody. We're gonna get into that melody, and we're gonna make that melody count, and it's gonna be great. No, actually, it's almost infinitesimal, where it's like it's a microscopic moment, and then something here, and then a period of silence, and then a period of noise and cacophony, and then it's this, and then it's this, without any real interconnection between. There's interplay, but it's not the same meaningful narrative as what would a bass do to enhance the rhythm, or vice versa. What would the harmony do to enhance that bass line? That's not the interplay we're talking about. We're talking about instantaneous, spontaneous moments that are supposed to be important and significant in their own way, but at the cost of them being remembered, because you won't remember, because they're just isolated events. That's what I mean by experience. It's like, what are you hearing at that one instantaneous moment? And it can be isolated. It doesn't have to be connected to any other subsequent moment or any moment that had come previously. And that's what I mean by moment to moment. It's that moment experience that they want you to compose. Now, it comes at a cost, and I think this is intentional in some way by professors, by faculty, and by students who are trying to achieve this. What this does, unfortunately, achieve is the removal of the importance of structure. So you do not have an overarching narrative, because the moments aren't really coalesced to make an overall narrative structure. It's just like, oh, here's something in minute 3, and it has nothing to do with what's ever happening in minute 9. And then the very last conclusion, though, the closure of the piece, bears no more meaning than, the beginning or the middle or anywhere in between. So there's removal of the importance of structure. It's like, let's do away with structure. It's just, spontaneous. It's moment to moment. Now, on experience, this is all under the category of experience. What do you mean by experience, Michelle? Well, I mean that the moments, they're out to get you visceral and have that kind of sensory, that processing for that very specific moment before the next visceral experience of the next moment. So they want you to be impacted by what they offer moment to moment. But if there's no overarching structure, then it is forgettable, because we're just human beings. We think of things in sequence. We have causation, we have cause and effect, we have relationships, and we'll get into relationships a little bit later. But yeah, there's this idea like, well, the experience of the music composition is moment to moment, and let's see how much we can grate your senses. Let's see how uncomfortable we can make you. Let's see how surprised we can make you. Let's see how enticed we can make you. It's kind of that idea. There's nothing wrong with being surprised or enticed by a work of art, or just like, whoa, that's really cool. But that actually, um, it's the impact in that moment. And as soon as you leave or go off to the next piece of the concert or go out of the building, you forget it. It's like, well, it has no long lasting impressions on me. That's what I mean by experience. It's in that moment. So what that means is you're really not meant to experience that music except that concert, except that night it's performed. How can I be so bold to say that? Well, it's just that these professors and these faculty in the liberal arts school and in these music schools, they don't teach you how to produce your music. They don't teach you how to put it on a CD. They don't teach you to have that tangible archive. It could be a digital archive, but they don't teach you how to archive your music. They don't teach you how to archive those moments. As when I was a student, it wasn't that important to them. It's like, no, it's just you going to the concert and experiencing it while you're there, and then go have a drink after that, because you're not going to remember that. Do I remember a Beethoven symphony? Yes. Do I remember a Brahms melody? Yes. I remember a Mozart instrumental concerto, like a violin concerto or a clarinet concerto. I remember that. I know that kind of music, and I could go have a drink and think about, like, internalize. Most people actually in culture can internalize, oh yeah, that's what Mozart did. But this kind of music composition that I'm talking about in the university setting now in contemporary music, it's like, oh, that was great. I like what they did. I just can't remember how they did it. I know it sounds a little abstract, but that's the way it is. So the experience, the moment-to-moment experience, the removal of the overall importance of the overall structure, and making the moment visceral, impactful, but forgettable at the same time. Like, you could have an idea, like this vague impression of what happened, but you can't pinpoint exactly what happened like you could with a Mozart violin concerto. And I would say, in addition to the experience side, the composers, both faculty and students, are working toward kind of a reactive response, a sensory response. Like, what are your ears processing? What's your brain processing? What's your body processing? What's your mind and psychology processing in this moment? It's not a bad thing, but to what end? Do you want it long lasting? And if the answer is no, then what's the point to begin with? I mean, just, I want a piece of art that kind of has that same long lasting impression as, the film Captain America, the first Avenger. It's kind of like that. So that's the first thing. Experience, the experience of it. What are you feeling in this moment? That's what they want in your music composition, and working toward that in your music composition practice. Not completely bad. You want those spontaneous moments in your art, but they can't be forgettable. And contemporary music composition practice actually renders most student works forgettable.